British Triathlon, proudly partnered by GE. Imagination at work.
Hello from the valleys of South Wales and what promises to be a grandstand finish to the British Triathlon Super Series here at the GE Park Bryn Bach Triathlon. There's not many sports where the best of British and the best in the world mean pretty much the same thing, but triathlon is one of them. And with our top athletes all reporting for duty here at the beautiful setting of Park Bryn Bach, we're in for a great day's racing. Let's find out what's coming up with our race commentator, Patrick Winterton.
The final race of the British Triathlon Super Series just about to get underway, and some of the biggest names in the sport are here. Jenkins and Stimpson on the women's event, Tim Don, Stu Hayes, both on very good form indeed, and the Brownlee brothers, who so many have come to watch here today. Well, a mass of youngsters racing in the interregional competition. Sky Draper, one of those. She's expected to excel. And Yorkshire and Humberside, the defending team from last year. And this mass involvement and particularly the development of the youngsters, part of the reason that British Triathlon are the sports governing body of the year. Sky Draper first out of the water in her age group. Excellent performance from her, and we saw the same in Windsor. Well, they're all racing on the same course as the elite will later on. It's technical and it's very, very tough indeed. 14 members in each team in the 3 categories to make up the interregional competition. Another great run by Sky Draper to win the women's youth, having recently beaten Jensen Button in a sprint event. And in the men's youth, Liam Lloyd, a storming run from him. Plenty of support for the local man.
It's grassroots events like this that has led to some of the global success we've enjoyed in Britain over the last couple of years, and some of those world superstars are here today.
As well as the Brownlee brothers, we've got the husband and wife team of Mark and Helen Jenkins, but Mark playing a supporting role today. Despite the fact that he's leading the series, he is not racing. Helen very much is, and is the hot favourite to win the women's event. And it's going to be a tough one. Sprint distance, remember, 750 metres swim in the lake. It's bitterly cold, but they'll warm up quick enough with the quality of the field that we have. That's followed by 20 kilometres on the bike, 5 times round, a really tough loop. So that's 5 big climbs to do. And then finally, a 5-kilometre run. No time to get into your running, no time to shake out the lactate. You have to fly out of T2. There's plenty of wind in the air, and it's going to be a brave man or woman that takes on the cycle on their own. Jenkins just going, and Kerry Lang going through their warm-up process. Kerry Lang knows exactly how important it is to stay warm. Jodie Stimpson, the main rival for Helen Jenkins today. Can she upset the local support? We'll have to wait and see. She looks very, very serious indeed. Of course, looking for the Super Series title that she won last year. The standings at the moment see Jackie Slack on top, but she's not racing due to injury, so if Stimpson finishes in the top 5, she will claim the title for the 2nd year in succession. And what a way to wrap up her season that would be.
If it's going to be the swim, it's going to be fast. Helen Jenkins is here and she's one of the best swimmers in the world, so it's definitely going to start off with a fast swim, but she's also a phenomenal cyclist and runner, so she'll definitely be making sure the pace is on the bike, especially going up the hill.
Ranked number 4 in the world with 3 podium finishes in the World Championship Series and of course that brilliant win in London, Helen Jenkins is the hot favourite for this race.
It's going to be a little walk in the park today, isn't it?
I never think that. There's so many good girls racing. A lot of the British girls, you know, they're the hardest in the world to beat. So I'm hoping today I can just do a good performance. And the water temperature's really cold, so that's going to be a hard thing to cope with, and the wet corners on the bike, so it's going to be a challenging day, but you know, I think we're all prepared for it.
Katie Ingram's another one to watch out for, a brilliant runner. If she has a good swim, she should get a good result.
I mean, I've obviously only been doing triathlon for a year, and the first time they put me in the open water, I think it was at Eton as a practice, and that was 10 degrees. So this actually seems quite warm in comparison. So that's how I'm looking at it. It's 13, 14 degrees the water temperature. So yeah, it's going to be a shock, but it's not too long in there.
Well, it's one of the youngsters showing the rest of the field how to swim. Lucy Hall with another tremendous performance in the water. She's going to be first out into T1. She's opened up a gap of some 5-6 metres over some of the favourites. So Hall is away. Abby Thorington, another good swim from her to keep her in the running. Jodie Stimpson, Kerry Lang is in there as well on the far side for Scotland. And Helen Jenkins having a little bit of trouble getting the wetsuit undone. I guess that's the cold fingers. So it is Lucy Hall, the junior, first into T1. That's her best discipline come and gone. How long can she hang on the bike? Lang near the camera. There are two of the favourites. Helen Jenkins alongside Jodie Stimpson. Those two are going to be watching each other like eagles as they work their way around the course. Will Stimpson try and get clear on the bike? We'll have to wait and see. Abby Thorington is away. Now they have to stay off their bikes until they're off the blue matting. A little bit of a cautious mount from Helen Jenkins, but she's got to play it safe. Pair of gloves there for Liz Blatchford, and that's another indication of just how cold it is. The fell running specialist, Katie Ingram, just going through T1. The drills are not the best, but she is a real talent, part of the Try Gold programme, developing talent within Britain. Might recognise her from Deal or No Deal, where she had one of her many successes. But throwing away a few valuable seconds in T1. She'll look at the tapes after this and know exactly where she can make improvements. Now she's into the two disciplines where she excels. A brilliant mountain runner, a brilliant duathlete by all accounts. We'll see if she can get on the back of this leading group. Abby Thorington doing the work out front at the moment as they start the climb for the first time. 5 times they've got to go over the summit of this hill. Jodie Stimpson right onto the back wheel of Helen Jenkins. We know what her game plan is. Jenkins looking very relaxed, very smooth action indeed. Already the pace is a little too tough for the junior Lucy Hall. First out of the water, but first to drop out of that leading group.
Like Stuart Hayes, Jodie Stimpson is part of Team Dillon. And also like a teammate, she'll be looking forward to making things really tough on the bike.
This bike course, there's nowhere to hide on this bike course, so you've got to be up there on the bike. You've got to be able to hold your own, especially going up that hill. It's going to be, the pace is going to be on, so if you can't handle it, you're just going to get dropped.
Liz Blatchford would normally be comfortable at this kind of pace, but she's had technical malfunctions on this bike course before, and this year it was a physical malfunction as cramp set in. Liz lost the group once, warmed up and caught them again, but then on lap 3, the lead quintet finally became a quartet as her legs gave in. Bach's hill always provides entertainment, and Kerry Lang's explosion of energy on lap 4 was too hot for Thorington. Soon Abby's 4th place would be under threat from Katie Ingram. After an average start, the Lancashire mountain runner was giving it some welly in the valleys. Always cool though, and only slightly ruffled by the breeze, local girl Jenkins was right at home with a fierce pace up front, and after 35 minutes, headed for transition 2 with Lang and Stimpson, all ready to fight for those podium places on the run.
Only 3 survivors from that initial group of 6 that headed out of T1. Kerry Lang, fantastic run so far from her, just gets away with it. Helen Jenkins is there, and also Jodie Stimpson at the back of those 3. Harriet Brethel is in fact 1 lap behind. So these are the 3 that we need to focus on. And the transition speed, crucial. Kerry Lang looking a little heavy in the legs coming off the bike. And she's swift enough in transition, but already looks heavy in the legs. Jodie Stimpson away like a rocket as ever. And then Helen Jenkins just taking it steady, looking very, very calm. I think that's an indication of her confidence. Now she's just got to run down those 2 leaders. Abby Thorington, number 4 into the transition as the 3 leaders head out alongside the lake. Stimpson leading. Jenkins just squeezing past Kerry Lang of Scotland. But you can see the difference in their running style. Jenkins looking fluent and smooth, Kerry Lang is struggling already. Now the battle between Stimpson and Jenkins. How is this one going to play out? Stimpson so strong, but after the race in Budapest, the World Championship Series race there, the finale of that series, she did say her legs were very heavy indeed. And she needs to be fully recovered if she's going to take on the speed of Helen Jenkins. And here comes Jenkins, just steps it up. Just a few metres of recovery and Jenkins is away. Now it's up to Jodie Stimpson to try and hang on. She's tough, but she knows as well as anyone how difficult this is going to be.
Almost a K into the 5 and there was no looking back for Jenkins and no way back for Jodie Stimpson, who still had to battle an injured foot all the way to the finish line. It would be third for Kerry Lang, but a high five with Helen suggested she'd be more than happy with that.
The 2008 World Champion cruises home to victory in the final of the British Super Series here in Bryn, Bach. Helen Jenkins taking the applause of her own crowd. What a moment for her, what a performance by her. She swam well, she cycled hard, and it only took her 1,000 metres to overhaul Jodie Stimpson on the run. She gets the finishing straight to herself once again. She won in London in style, and she's won in Wales in style as well. What a day for Helen Jenkins, part of an impressive British squad. Jodie Stimpson, well, I think she knew the writing was on the wall, but it's a fine performance from her as well.
Helen, fantastic victory on home soil. You must be delighted.
Oh, I'm really happy. There were so many people came down to watch, my friends and family, and just there was so much support on the course. It was amazing.
Stimpson not quite up to Jenkins's performance, but she's lost a lot of sweat and blood in her efforts today.
You don't feel it until you finish, and then it's like, oh, bit of blood.
But second today, but overall you're the champion for the year, so you must be pretty happy.
Yeah, I'm chuffed. I mean, I'd have liked to have obviously finished on a win, but Helen was just unbeatable today. I mean, she went, and then as soon as I saw her on my shoulder, I was like, okay, she's here. And then she went. I tried to go with Sadie for a bit, but there was no stopping her today. She's the world's best for a reason.
Jenkins, Stimpson 1 and 2, Kerry Lang on the podium as well, and what a comeback by Katie Ingram to take 4th place. So with the women's completed, everyone looking forward to the men's race. Stu Hayes, after his recent victory in Kitzbühel, is on very good form. Alistair and Johnny Brownlee, two extraordinary brothers who could well take the victory, and Tim Don, who can certainly turn this into the Super Series race of the season.
British Triathlon, proudly partnered by GE. Imagination at work.
Welcome back to Wales and the GE Park Bring Back Triathlon. It's now time for the men to settle their 2010 series. We've got the Brownlee boys, the Don and Stuart Hayes, who must fancy his chances on this hilly course. They're all ready to go.
With Mark Jenkins not racing, Tim Don is lined up to capture the British Triathlon Super Series title if he can secure a good finish today. Tim's main worry is a recent hip injury that he picked up in a bike crash at the World Series final. His other worry, of course, Stuart Hayes, who's not far behind in the points.
It is the last race, but it doesn't mean I won't be going as hard as I have been early season. It's always nice to race, you know, for a British title, so I'm really excited. I've raced here a few times and they always put on a good event, but if my hip holds together, yeah, hopefully I'll be there, you know, with a K to go on the run, and then anything can happen.
After a World Series win in Kitzbühel, Stuart Hayes is in the form of his life, and he's still got an outside chance of taking the Super Series title.
I can still win. This course really suits me actually. It's a real hilly bike course and it's a nice flat run, and I like the bike course that are really hilly and technical, so I'm going to give it if I can, and if I have a great race, yeah, I've got potential of winning.
2009 World Champion Alistair Brownlee is not in the running for the Super Series title, but he won the last race of the World Series in Budapest, so like Stuart Hayes, he's on top of his game. He's here with younger brother Johnny, but Alistair must start as race favourite.
It's a really strong field, and most of the best British guys are here today. Of course, Johnny's always strong. It's getting closer and closer all the time, but Tim Don as well, and Stu Hayes, and along with a load of other guys who've been racing in the British races all year, so it should be a really good race.
It's a rough start to the swim, as everybody's fighting to be the first onto the bike course.
I'm going to really attack the bike. I'm going to basically, once I hit land, I'm going to sprint to my bike, I'm just going to take off. I'm going to even try and go quite hard in the descent as well, so people better watch out.
It's all going to plan as Stuart leads at the moment, but the Brownlees are on his feet. The younger of the Yorkshire pair, Johnny, is world sprint distance champion and is proven at this all-out racing. In all the chaos, he ends up swimming without goggles, but that's not going to stop the 20-year-old in his breakthrough year.
Well, yeah, I really do fancy his chances. It's a sprint race, which suits him well as well. He's had world sprint champion in Lausanne this year. So yeah, I'm confident, but it's cold out here and it's a hard course, so anything can happen on a hard bike. So I'd have to give it a best shot.
Job done for Stu Hayes on part one of this triathlon. He's first out of the water, followed by Alistair Brownlee. Johnny Brownlee in third place. The two brothers evenly matched as they were in the French Grand Prix yesterday. Through goes the Australian in fourth place. And Tim Don, there he is with the blue stripes on the wetsuit. He's some 10-11 seconds adrift of the leaders. And Tim Don is going to have to fly through T1 if he's going to get in touch with the Brownlee brothers and Stu Hayes, who are in the first three positions at the moment. Off with the wetsuit, on with the helmet. There's not a lot to do, but it can go horribly wrong. Alistair Brownlee is the first away, looking very smooth. There's brother Johnny. He gets away cleanly as Tim Don comes into transition. Nice and quick with the wetsuit coming off. Stu Hayes. And Hayes has mounted the bike before he's off the blue carpet. He gets a warning shout, but that could well be too late. There could or should be a 15-second penalty for that mistake, and that is crucial at this level. There's another cyclist riding the bike early, another penalty to be paid. Well, silly mistakes like that can be so expensive. So a potential leading group of 5. We've got the two Brownlees, Tom Bishop in third at the moment, Stu Hayes making ground, trying to get on the back wheel of that front three. And Tim Don, still with his feet out of his shoes, is struggling to make up the gap. No problem for Stu Hayes. My goodness, he's pushing the pace early on. He knows how important it is to be with that leading group. And Tim Don is in no man's land at the moment, just ahead of Royal of Australia, who had a very good swim, but also having a bit of trouble with the shoes. Now Tim Don is almost 2/3 of the way up the climb, and look, his feet are still out of the shoes, so he's losing 25% of the power that he could have. That is a bad mistake from Tim Don, and he could pay dearly for that. The Brownlees pushing the pace as ever. It's Johnny who takes his share of the lead at the front. Beautifully rhythmic style. Stu Hayes, I think, paying the price for that early burst to get in touch with the two brothers. And well, that's some forceful language from Alistair Brownlee telling Stu Hayes to do his share at the front. Brownlee does not want Tim Don to catch this leading group, and it's crucial that Stu Hayes does his share.
After recovering from his efforts to make the lead group, Stuart Hayes was soon adding to the Brownlees' blinding pace up front, and even threatening to stretch things out. Hats off to Tim Don though, riding first with Tom Bishop but then all alone. He matches the leader's pace and even closes him down for a while. But he's not in control of the race, and the plan was never ever to work this hard on the bike. In the end, the lead group proves out of reach for Tim, but his monster effort keeps him in touch for the Super Series title just as long as his legs have got some energy left to run.
A blistering pace set by the Brownlees on the cycle. Stu Hayes in the end able to do his fair share of the work into T2 then. Now this is where Hayes will pay the penalty if they do penalise him for that mistake in T1. The Brownlees straight to their bike positions, and a very quick change expected here. Talcum powder in the shoes to make it easier to pull them on. Away go the Brownlees side by side, and Stu Hayes is being penalised. 15 seconds. Well, if there are two men you don't want to give away 15 seconds to, it is Alistair and Johnny Brownlee. That makes his task almost impossible, but he's a real fighter. And here comes Tim Don. He cycled the 20 kilometres on his own. That won't have done his legs any good. The hip injury suffered from a fall off the bike. That won't help either. But if there's one man who can chase down the Brownlees and Stu Hayes, it is Tim Don. You could argue he's the best runner in world triathlon at the moment. What can he do today in Bryn, Bach? Certainly not hanging around as he goes over the line. 5,000 metres to go to catch these two, the Brownlees in 1 and 2. It's Alistair, the older brother, who leads at the moment. Johnny, the under-23 champion from Budapest, on very good form, and here is Stu Hayes. He's got 60 metres or so to close down on the brothers. It's an almighty task, but Stu Hayes is on very good form. We'll see what he can do.
Over the first of 2 laps of the lake, Stuart Hayes closes the brothers down by a few strides. And of the pair, Alistair looks the strongest. But although Hayes has the Brownlees in sight, he can't quite close the gap. The same can be said for Don, who is chasing Hayes and has a sporting thumbs up for him as they meet, despite the obvious pain in Tim's hip. But in the closing stages, it looks like a tough performance from the Brownlee brothers will be crowned with a Yorkshire victory.
Well, what a performance from Alistair Brownlee after his collapse in London. I don't think many thought we'd see him racing like this again this year, enjoying the company of some of the youngsters from the Southwest team who were racing earlier today. They'll be mightily impressed with the speed that the Brownlees have maintained over the 5 kilometres. They just can't stay with them. Stu Hayes will be furious with himself that he got himself a 15-second penalty, and he's given up his chance of finishing in the top 2 today. 3rd is the best that he can hope for. And the Brownlees look as though they're going to finish side by side. A fitting end to the season for a phenomenal pair of athletes. What prospects the British have for 2012. Alistair Brownlee certainly looked more comfortable on the run, but he's quite happy to share the honours with his brother Johnny. These two are going places. My goodness, what a season for them, and what a way to finish it off. Victory in Bryn, Bach. 58.12 the winning time. Stu Hayes only some 17 seconds behind, and that's with a 15-second penalty. It could have been so close, but a great run from Stu Hayes, and he's on the podium in the Super Series for the 2nd time this season.
Guys, to watch, that was lovely. Was that brotherly love, or were you just both too tired?
No, it was brotherly love, and we were both tired as well. Yeah, we thought we'll cross the line together. It's nice finishing off like that. Alistair could have dropped me at any time, but he waited for me, which is nice, and it's nice to finish the season like that. So yeah, thanks a lot to Alistair, and well done to him. It's been a good season.
To be honest, those two deserve to win. They did a lot more work than me on the bike at the beginning, and I had to miss a few turns, and Alistair got a bit upset, but as my legs came back, I felt good, and then it's just a shame I got 15 seconds, that's all.
Victory shared by the two Brownlees. Stu Hayes in 3rd, and Tim Don, finishing in 4th, picks up enough points to claim the Super Series title for 2010. He'll be delighted with that. 270 points out of a possible 300.
It's great to win the Super Series. I think it's the first time I've done it, and great to get on the podium as well. But the boys, they had, they just got away early on in the bike. I couldn't get my feet in my shoes. I was a bit stiff and cold. But I rode all the way on my own, so it's pretty tough out there. But yeah, it's the last race of the year, so I'm chuffed to finish. Get something positive out of it. So I'm really happy.
In the women's standings, Jodie Stimpson on top with 280 points ahead of Jackie Slack, who didn't race today, and Helen Jenkins with 100 points picked up from her victory today goes up into 3rd place. A brilliant season by all 3. On the men's Super Series podium, it's Tom Bishop, the junior, in 3rd place. What a prospect for the British team he is. Stu Hayes in 2nd, but the man of the day and of the series, it's Tim Don.
That's it for 2010. The sun is shining on Jodie Stimpson and Tim Don, who are the series champions. And that's the end of our road trip, which started in Strathclyde via Blenheim, Windsor and London, has ended here at the beautiful Park Bryn Bach. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you to the athletes for making it such a great journey. See you next year.
British Triathlon, proudly partnered by GE. Imagination at work.